Hi, I'm Eric Wilson, and I've got my trumpet, and I've got Alexander Geodicke's Concert Etude for trumpet on my tablet here, and I'm going to teach, kind of like a private lesson, how to play this piece, how to audition this piece. And I'll say that this piece is used so much for auditioning trumpets because it has all of these intermediate and beginner elements of trumpet playing within it. And people use this piece to audition trumpets to see how many different elements of trumpet playing a young trumpet player can do well. So, with that in mind and with that said, I'm going to focus this video on teaching how to play it as if you were going to audition for this piece. Now, the very first thing that I can say about this piece is that if you're trying to play this piece for a recital or some other kind of like concert or something like that, pick another piece. This is not really a particularly wonderful and musical piece. It has its moments, but all together and all in all, it's not that great of a piece unless if it's for auditioning trumpets. Also, it's not that great of a piece because if you're a piano player, your accompaniment isn't really focused on all of these dynamic changes that go on in this piece, then you're not really going to be able to perform the piece the way that it's supposed to be, because you and the piano player aren't really going to be on the same page, and it's all going to be pretty much flat dynamically, and that's not really great. If you're auditioning, that's wonderful. You don't have a choice. This is the piece that they pick for you to audition with, all city, all state, things like that, high school age, groups that are meant to teach aspiring musicians to be better musicians. But as a piece to play at a place for people's pleasure, it's not really that great. Starting at the very beginning of this piece, it says allegro, 152 beats per minute, which is very, very fast. And I see a lot of people try to play this piece as fast as they possibly can. They try to get up to that 152 and they end up butchering the piece. 152 is very, very fast, and you don't need to play it that fast. You can play it 132, 145, 130, or whatever you want to play it at, as long as you can play it well, as long as all the notes come out cleanly and clearly, and as long as you're able to play the cantabile section with some kind of grace and musicality. This is what you're going to be focused on. You're not really going to so much be focused on the fact that you have to play it at 152. You have to pick a tempo that you're comfortable with, that you think it sounds good with, and you have to stick to that tempo. Don't try to play like fast in the beginning and then end up mistakenly slowing down in the middle because you tried to play it too fast in the beginning. Another thing about the very beginning of this piece is it says leggero. Leggero means to play it kind of lightly. The fact that this piece sounds the way that it does, bum ba da dum bum 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 bum, you think you gotta play it like how you play Star Wars, but it's not like that at all. You're supposed to play it fairly lightly from the beginning. And one of the major things that people do is they try to pound it at the beginning, and when you pound it at the beginning, you have nowhere to go. In the middle there's a section where then you're supposed to bring out the hammer, and it doesn't really feel that good because you've been pounding it from the beginning. So if you start it lightly, even more lightly than you think that you should, you have a lot of space, you have a lot of places to go as you continue on in playing the piece. The very first two notes of this piece is A and A. And the very first two notes are the very first two notes that auditioners are going to hear. And I've noticed all the students that I've heard play this, the second A kind of gets butchered a little bit because the first A is straight, and then the second A goes A, B, C, and it kind of becomes sloppy. It's not really clean. It's more like... I'm exaggerating, but you have to make sure that this is very clean. The first two notes, bop, bop. And the way to do this is to, a few times, you don't have to do this 20 hours a day, but a few times, play it like this. Just two A's. And as long as you got that ba-ba in your head, then you'll be able to go. and it'll be very clean and very clear. So that's the first thing that you have to do when playing this piece, is to make sure that that very first note and that very second note are the exact same thing. Ba-ba, ba-ba-da-da, ba-ba-da-da, ba-ba-da-da. And that's a very good exercise to do when you have sections like that where you have a recurring note and then it goes up from there. You have to go ba-ba, 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 and that'll really help you out a lot with your articulation and the evenness with which you play. After that, it kind of goes down from that F. A lot of people have a problem with that F, going up to the F, because they're kind of like a little bit worried, oh, it's a high note, but it's not really a high note. You just have to kind of like move your tongue forward a tiny little bit. Ba-ba-da-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. And then that part is pretty easy. The next part that has a very, very, very crazy amount of mistakes is this here. And the reason why is because people don't really have that 1 to 2 to 2 to 3 fingering. This is a problem for so many people. And if you play your E natural major scale, then you're not going to have that problem. If you practice this scale, because it goes like this, see? It's a lot of this going on in the scale. So if you have this movement down, then you should be able to play this little section pretty good. It has to be very nice and even, and all the notes have to be clear. A lot of people blah 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 blah, and they don't really have it, and that's just like a weakness in people and not wanting to slow down and practice. So you have to practice this like kind of slowly. Ba da 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 ba, ba da 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 ba ba ba. And as you go a little bit faster, you'll notice yourself stumbling, or you'll notice yourself like kind of slopping it up a little bit, and just take a step back and go back to being very slow. And then just kind of work your way up. Until you can play it quickly and evenly pretty much every single time. And then it happens again, same thing. Now you have to pay attention to the dynamics in this piece. It happens a lot, decrescendos, crescendos. It happens a lot. And a lot of people have a tendency to kind of like go for mezzo forte, and then when you hit that E, the E says piano. So they'll just play mezzo forte the entire time, and then when the E comes up piano, then they want to just play piano. And that's not a decrescendo. That's just going from one dynamic to the next dynamic. You have to be careful in this piece to play the dynamics smoothly, that you go from mezzo forte, and there's only 4 notes in between it when the decrescendo starts, and just decrescendo softly and evenly. And when you can do that, you sound like a really good musician, because not a lot of trumpet players, even professional trumpet players, are very good at evenly decrescendoing, evenly crescendoing. The next part, after that E happens, there's a little da-ga-da, 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 da-ga-da. All these da-ga-das should be played single-tongued, I believe, because single-tonguing has a tendency to be much more even than double-tonguing. Even in the way that the sounds note, the notes are even, bop, 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 but also that the timing is even. When people double-tongue only 2 notes, as is here, they have a tendency to be very quick. It'll be like ba, da-ga-da, da-ga-da, and that's wrong. It's not right to play it like that. It's right to da, da-ga-da, da-ga-da, and I play it single tongue, da, 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 da. And you can single tongue as fast as you want, only 2 notes. Da, 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 da. It's very easy to do. So single tongue those, just so that you can make sure that it's very even and that you sound better at that little spot. And then the next part is a very easy part, very easy fingering. It just seems to flow. So what you want to do here is not be like a robot. If you go da 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 da, you sound like a robot, and a lot of people play it that way, and I've never understood that. This gives you an opportunity to play more musically. You can play a little bit behind the beat. You can kind of like stretch out the time here. As long as you resolve on that B at the end, you can kind of play it musically. It really shouldn't be played like a robot would play. and that makes you sound, once again, like a qualified musician, not like some kind of robot who's just trying to hit notes. After that, this is the most difficult section here because you're double tonguing low E's and then immediately double tonguing high E's. And a lot of people mess this interval up. They might hit the first E on the bottom and then kind of like scrub the second E to try to get to the next set of E's. And this only just comes with practice. Practicing da-da, 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 da-da. And you see where your tongue is and you see where your airstream is for the second set of notes. And make sure that you hit those first two notes. It's a little bit too fast for a single tonguing, so you're going to have to double tongue it. Make sure that it's even, of course, but make sure that you practice that interval. That E to E is a major problem for pretty much everybody who auditions with this piece. Also, there's a crescendo. Make sure that you pay attention to the fact that you're crescendoing throughout that double tonguing. And then we come here to like another piano. And it starts over at the beginning of the piece. This is like the very beginning of the piece, except for instead of it goes and as long as you have that that 1 and 2 fingering to the 2 and 3 fingering and back, then you should be fine. And that's very easy to do if you've got the practice. And then this part here, the fourth line of this manuscript, the very first measure of it. There's that crescendo there. Pay attention and crescendo it evenly up through it. Don't just go mezzo forte to forte, because then it goes back to piano, and then you've butchered the whole section if you do it that way. This next part is the part that messed with me the most, because I'm so used to playing scales quickly that this kind of confused me, because you have recurring notes. You have the C, D, C, B, and then you got the B again, and then it goes, and then you've got the A sharp again. So you're going ba da 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 ba da 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 ba da da da. Instead of just like playing a scale, which is very easy to do. This kind of like trips up a lot of players, and it tripped me up when I was first practicing this piece back in 1998. And the only thing that I can say about this is to break it up. Just play that first 4 notes, ba-da-da-da, and then play the second one, ba-da-da-da, and then the next one, ba-da-da-da, and then just do a little quicker, ba-da-da-da, and put spaces in between, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, and then you start putting them together, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And the faster you can play that, and if you can play that very clean, that's very good. A lot of people are rushing this piece and going through it, and that just sounds like a mess. Blah, 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 bum, 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 bum. And the cleaner, the nicer, the sweeter that you can play that particular section is going to make you look very, very impressive to auditioners, because they know that you've taken the time and the effort and you have the dedication to practice a piece of music, a small piece of music, so that you can play it very cleanly and nicely, and that's very nice for them to hear, and it'll be good for you, especially in the future as you see more and more pieces that have sections that look like this. You'll already be able to play them. You won't have to work on them so much because you've already been there and done that. The next little section, bum 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 bum, that's very easy to do. A lot of people have a tendency to overplay that, to like kind of power through it, but you're still playing leggero here. It's not supposed to be like you're not supposed to be like throwing a hammer down on this. It's just a bum 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 bum. And as long as you can do that evenly, it'll be very nice for you. It's not hard fingering. They're not hard intervals. Very easy to do. The next section is all of this double tonguing. Now, the one thing that I can say about double tonguing is that not a lot of trumpet players, even professional trumpet players, can do it very, very well, because it's not, this kind of thing doesn't occur a lot in music. This it just doesn't happen a lot. And when things don't happen a lot, then you're kind of like out of practice with it. And when you practice double tonguing, be sure not to go ta, ka, or da, ga, or any of that crap that these people are telling you, or any of that crap that the books are telling you. Ta, ka. Look at my jaw. What's happening? Ta, ka. My jaw's opening and closing, opening and closing, opening and closing. That's terrible. You're never supposed to do something like that. When you practice double tonguing, especially from the beginning, where you're just now really like learning it and trying to get a grip on it, practice it like how you would practice the trumpet without the trumpet on your face. So you say ta ka. You don't do that because your jaw is moving. You go like this. My jaw is very even. If you do the ta ka thing, you're going to have major problems in trying to make those notes sound even because your jaw is going to be and that's terrible for you. So, when you practice double tonguing, especially from the beginning, do it without the trumpet. I used to do it like walking to school in the morning or walking in the hallways. I wouldn't like enunciate the words to look like some kind of weirdo, but I would like taka, and I did that, taka, because I didn't know any better at the time. But taka, when you're walking down it, or taka, just to get that, just to get the movement of the tongue, and then you can transfer that like feeling of you moving your tongue onto like being able to play the trumpet. That section is actually very, very easy to play. There's intervals from the F to the D, and then there's another interval from a G to a E, which you have to be kind of careful about. But as long as you have a good backing of your airstream, as long as you got like a good amount of air backing you up, you should be able to do those intervals very nicely. When people miss those intervals, it's usually because they don't have enough air behind them in their airstream. Then it goes to like probably one of my favorite parts in the piece. Bum ba ba bum da 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 ba da dum bum bum. When you play this first set of 16th notes, bum ba ba bum, I usually will single tongue that first set, and then the second set I'll double tongue them. Because it kind of like creates a movement. Maybe like I'm just going a little bit faster on the second set. And Goedicke is a composer. He composes this music to be able to give you opportunities to do things with it. Not just play the notes like a robot, but to be able to like be more musical with it. So when you come up with something like this where it just recurs, bum ba ba bum, ba ba bum, then you can do something with it to like kind of make it feel like it's moving a little bit. So I'll always play single tonguing the first one, double tonguing the second one, and then I double tongue every other one after that until that bop 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 bop. Once again, pay attention to that crescendo. You're gradually getting louder. It's not just mezzo forte to like all of a sudden forte when you hit the B flat. Also, a lot of people don't ever hit that B flat. They end up just like squashing it, blah, 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 blah. And the reason why that happens, once again, is because you don't really have enough air in your airstream. You're kind of like clenching your jaw because you're thinking that you have to like play higher notes, and it like makes you feel, oh no, I'm playing higher notes, and then to like climb the staircase, you just have to use more air and put your tongue just a little bit forward, a little bit forward, a little bit forward, bop, 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 bop. And that B flat's going to come out very, very nice and even. And when you can play that B flat nice and even without like making it sound terrible or like splattering it all over the place, that's another really positive thing. And first trumpet players are the kind of trumpet players that can hit B flats in a thing like this without messing it up. And if you can do that, you should probably be playing first trumpet, and that's how these guys get these seats, is because they're able to hit higher notes. The next section is like exactly as the beginning is, and it's got elements of the beginning, and then it goes into another little double tonguing feature, and then here's when you're supposed to bring the hammer out. This is like the 10th line of the piece. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is the 10th line of the piece. The first measure of the 10th line is called a sforzando, and what that means is that you're supposed to pound this note from the beginning, and then the next, and then like kind of smooth it out at the end. So it's supposed to be like pow. And the trumpet is probably the best instrument in the world for sforzando. It can do it better than any other instrument, and you should be able to showcase the fact that you can do that very well, because it's something that trumpet players have to do quite often in a concert band or an orchestra, and it sounds really cool on a trumpet. So once you get through that double tonguing, just pound that note and kind of like just like let it go. And then it's a really cool part after that. This is when the hammer is supposed to come out. Is a part like this. This is like a triumphant kind of part, and it says crescendo right from the beginning. Right from that sforzando, it goes to piano, and then you start crescendoing. I will say that that's very easy to do, and pushing it a little bit is not really a problem, because bum ba da dum ba da dum ba da dum bum bum ba ba bum is not really a bad thing. He wrote it there, and he probably could really picture what the trumpet would sound like doing that. Remember, Alexander Geodicke was a piano player. He wasn't a trumpet player, so he really didn't know too much about the mechanics of the trumpet. But this is quite obvious that this is supposed to be really triumphant part of the piece. And at the very end of that, make sure that you don't go bum, 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 because that's wrong. The second note there is an eighth note. A lot of people have a tendency to like stretch out that dotted quarter note, the high E, and make the low E into like a 16th note. Bum, bum, bum. And it's not like that. It's bum, bum, bum. So make sure that you pay attention to that, because that's a problem. A lot of young trumpet players, students, really get that wrong, and they really have no idea that they're getting it wrong. Pay attention to the fact that that's an 8th note, not a 16th note. The next section is another section that I have probably never heard anyone play the way that I think it should be played. It says quasi cantabile, which means like you're singing, or like a singer. And when you're like a singer, it's the total opposite of a robot. And I've noticed that a lot of people have a tendency to bum ba 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 da 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 ba da da ba da 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 da, kind of like right on the tempo, right on the beat. And singers, it's when you're doing cantabile like a singer, you're not doing that. You're kind of like off the beat. You're kind of doing what you want to do. You're not like altering the tempo or like going way off from anything, but you're supposed to play it like singing. So I'm going to play it like how most people play it, you know? And I go. And that's just like, what's going on here? It's supposed to be like singing. But if you can like pull, if you can like kind of pull at the tempo, like pull and push at the tempo, it's just like kind of like you're singing, it sounds a lot better. Like a singing, you know? It's not supposed to be like such a robotic thing. And if you can get through this is like one of the kind of strange sections, because people have a tendency to overblow it too, because they think that all these notes are supposed to be like super long, but you can like give a little bit of time in between some of these notes to give yourself like a little thing, a little rest, a little break, a little opportunity to breathe, because after you're done with this piece, and it goes up to the high A, ba 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 da ba 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 ba, and it's like it takes a lot out of a young trumpet player to play this piece, and then immediately after that, you're going into more double tonguing, and double tonguing requires, for it to be clean and nice and clear, the airstream behind it. And if you can't find a place to breathe, or if you've expelled all your juice, then that double tonguing section is going to sound really not great at all, or you're going to like stumble in the beginning and then it'll kind of like smooth out after that. But you want it to be, you're supposed to make it like really nice, and you have to have that airstream there. And I'll say, because this is a cantabile section, before that, you can pull at the tempo a little bit, and it will kind of beseech you to be able to like slow it down somewhere so that you can take a little moment to stop and take a good breath so that you can have really good air support for this double tonguing section. And then it goes up to the G, which you're supposed to really hit. At the end of that double tonguing section, there's the G, and then there's another G and another G. And this is a different, once again, rhythm from the one that happened before. Before it was ba, bum, ba, and this one is ba, bum, bum. Pay attention to the fact that this is a quarter note, and an eighth note. Not a dotted quarter note, an eighth note, and an eighth note, or an eighth note and a quarter note. Pay attention to that rhythm. That's another issue that a lot of people have, is they're just not paying attention. And they have a tendency to play that rhythm like how the other rhythm was in the last section, which is totally wrong, and it's something that will it'll bump you down chairs because you're just not paying attention. Next section is back to the beginning again, and then it does this cool thing where it kind of like changes a little bit. There you go. And then piano player, piano player again. And that part, if you can make those quarter notes long, ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da, ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da, kind of like stretch them as far as you think that you can stretch them without like going obnoxiously away from the tempo. And it makes the trumpet sound really, really nice when you can just kind of like push through those notes. And then we have the section that is most difficult in the piece because the fingering is strange and it's got like kind of long intervals. It's not a key that a lot of people are familiar with, and it's double tonguing all at the same time. In this section, even though it's one of the more difficult sections, it's one of the sections that we notice that students practice a lot more than all the other sections. They're worried about this section, and a lot of times we won't even tell them to play this section. It's not really necessary for audition. We have an idea by now, by the time in this piece, what kind of trumpet player you are, and we're not really going to worry about like destroying your psyche by making you play something that we know that you can't play. But if you're doing the rest of this piece well, we'll call this part out for you. We want you to play this because we want to see how far you can go. So if you play the rest of this piece very well without messing up or very musically, then you should really be practicing this piece a lot. And the way to get the fingering down is to just don't double tongue it. Just play the fingering, you know, like how it is. And then you can add the double tonguing. And then you're done. It's very, very easy to do. You just kind of like have to break down sections like this that are like a little bit strange. You kind of like have to break them down to be able to practice them effectively and be able to like finally play them. It shouldn't take you too long if you break it down like that. Bum 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 bum. And I also noticed that like memorizing difficult sections like this, how the fingering goes, really helps you to be able to get through it a lot faster, and you make far less mistakes because it's committed to your memory. You're not looking at a page and reading the notes over and over again. You've really got it in your memory, and that really helps you in more than one way. The next section here is another cantabile section. It's just a little lower and easier to play. Same thing, try to stretch it out. Don't play it like a robot. And then double tonguing again. Here we go. And then here's when like you're really supposed to really pound this thing. It says pesant or pesante, however you want to say, means heavy. Bum bum ba bum bum bum. And it says retard there at that A, which means that you have freedom to do whatever it is that you want to do. So if you want to pound it and you want to hold on to that A because the A is sounding really good, hold on to that A. The more you hold on to it, the more like brilliant and like huge that you can make that sound, the better. Trust me, if you can really blow that out, it's really very impressive to hear a young person be able to play so triumphantly on the trumpet. And pay attention to the fact that that F and that F sharp stab those notes. Bum, bum, ba. Hold on to A however long you want. Bum, bum. And make that 16th note really short. Bum, bum. Bum, ba, da, 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 da. Now, a lot of people, when they do trills, they kind of just go like this with their finger. And the best trills that you've ever heard are trills that are like thoughtful, you know? So if you go, it's not like because that's not like a good trill. A good trill is like thoughtful. Beep bop bum bum bum. That's another part. Beep bop when you play this part. And that A is supposed to be the loudest note in all of this piece. Bop, and then like it goes down to mezzo piano. So it sounds really cool when you do it. Hammer that note, and then the mezzo piano, play it very, very softly. And these huge dynamic changes are really impressive when you can make them happen. And this is one of the examples of why you really shouldn't play this at a recital with a piano player unless if you have a lot of time with that piano player, because things like this don't come out so well when the piano player is not really paying attention to the dynamics as they should, or if they're not really on the same page as you are as far as how loud that A is supposed to be, how soft that next A is supposed to be. It kind of messes up the piece, and it makes it hard for you as a trumpet player to make humongous dynamic changes like that. And then we have another part which is really easy to make sound musical. It kind of just like flows by itself. And that's also very easy. I would go back to the beginning of the Leggero, doing something like but it's very easy, and the easier you play it, the better it's going to come out. And then it's another like section where you're supposed to just really hit at that ba 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 de da bum ba de bum bum bum. And if you notice the dynamics again. It's all very easy, very nice. And then it's decrescendo, diminish up to that A. Don't play it too softly, because a lot of people will miss that A. They try to play it softly, and then they try to get the A, and they end up like clamping their jaw down, and the note won't come out. You don't have to play it like super soft, but if you do play it super soft, if you can make it to go, if you can play that really, really, really soft, it's the best thing in all the world, and it's the best way to end the piece is to. So I would practice that all the time. Bum 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 bum. It gets softer. Bum 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 bum. And I would play that A so soft. Bum 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 bum. Super soft, like as soft as I possibly could play it. And it's really, really impressive when you can do that. This is about all that I've got to say about the piece. The piece is over. And if you guys have any questions or any specific problems that you're having with the piece, send me a message on the YouTube, or put a comment, and I most certainly have got a lot of experience in teaching people how to like fix little mistakes and things. So if you have anything that you're concerned about, any particular part that you just can't get through, or like some kind of question, just put it in the comments and I'll get back to you, and hopefully we can work that out really easily. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it.